Greetings, it's the Creator, back in action. Get ready for a weekly dive into the extraordinary. Every Sunday, I'll be your guide through the most gripping events in the world of mysteries. Tune in and join me as we navigate the top of the list. Make sure to subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. Top 10 of the most infamous cults in history. What is a cult? The common, modern definition of a cult is a group of people with extreme dedication to a certain leader or set of beliefs that are often viewed as odd by others. Let's start with number 10. Members of the Manson family. The Manson family famously murdered 7 people over the course of 2 nights to start a race war. In the late 60s, Charles Manson brought together a group of displaced young people and called them his family. They settled in Spahn Ranch, a sprawling former movie studio near Los Angeles, where drugs were free-flowing, mandatory orgies were enforced, and Manson pushed his ideas about an imminent race war. The cult leader told his followers he wanted him to go on a killing spree. On August 8, 1969, a few members of the cult headed to a Beverly Hills home and murdered 5 people, including actress Sharon Tate. They wrote the word "pig" in Tate's blood on the door. The violence continued the next night when Rosemary and Leno LaBianca were murdered in their Los Feliz home by Manson's followers on his orders. Rosemary was stabbed 14 times. Manson was convicted of first-degree murder in 1971. He served out his prison sentence until he died on November 19, 2017, at age 83. Number 9. Members of Heaven's Gate. Bonnie Nettles, one of the founders of the cult. In the early 70s, Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles went on a road trip across America and found a group of people they dubbed the Crew. Applewhite told his followers many things, including that he was the second coming of Jesus Christ. The end of the world was upon them. He encouraged them to give away all their money and cut off contact with their families. Cult members were also put on a master cleanse diet of lemonade, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup, in order to get rid of sexual thoughts. 8 men volunteered to be surgically castrated. In March 1997, 39 members of Heaven's Gate donned dark outfits and matching Nike shoes. They drank vodka and ate apple sauce and pudding that contained barbiturates and put plastic bags over their heads to suffocate themselves. When police officers entered the home, they found a line of bodies, each covered with purple fabric. It was one of the largest mass suicides in the history of the United States. Number 8. Members of Aum Shinrikyo. The cult Aum Shinrikyo was founded in the 80s by Shoko Asahara. He claimed to be Christ and, at one point, garnered tens of thousands of followers across the world. His teachings started out spiritual and then became increasingly violent. Cult members even paid money to drink Asahara's blood. On March 20, 1995, members of Aum Shinrikyo left 5 bags filled with a toxic nerve agent on 3 Tokyo train lines during rush hour. Passengers began choking and throwing up. 13 people died because of the attack and 5,800 were injured. As months went by, the cult tried, and failed, to attack other subway stations with a deathly cyanide. Asahara was sentenced to death, along with 12 other members of Aum Shinrikyo. 7 members were executed in July of 2018, including Asahara himself. Number 7. Children of God. David Berg formed one of history's most infamous cults, the Children of God, in the 1960s. What made the cult's beliefs deviate from mainstream religion was its fine blend of promiscuous sex and worship of Jesus Christ. In the 1970s, the group even adopted an evangelic approach dubbed flirty fishing. Leaders encouraged young females in the cult to have sex with potential converts to win them over. This resulted in many female members working as prostitutes. The Children of God grew to over 130 communities across the globe and had over 10,000 dedicated members in the 1970s. It discouraged children from attending any form of formal schooling since they believed the apocalypse was imminent. They also taught that kids should only involve themselves in eschewing the world to yearn for the kingdom of God. The CIA and Interpol began investigating sexual abuse allegations made by members against Berg. The following year, Berg died, but the group continued as the Family International until 2010. Number 6. The People's Temple. In 1955, Jim Jones founded the People's Temple in Indianapolis. He grew concerned that a nuclear attack would fall on the area, so he moved his congregation to Eureka, California, which he thought would be safer. Paranoia struck again in 1977, this time born out of media attention, and Jones moved the People's Temple to a settlement in Guyana dubbed Jonestown. U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan decided to visit the People's Temple's new location in Guyana in 1978 in order to investigate reports of abuse of members. He was shot and killed by 4 members of the People's Temple. Jones then instructed all of his followers to drink Flavor Aid laced with cyanide. Over 900 dead bodies were discovered at the settlement, including Jones, who had a bullet wound to the head. In an unsigned suicide note, one member of the cult wrote, "If nobody understands, it matters not. I am ready to die now." Darkness settles over Jonestown on its last day on Earth. Number 5. Branch Davidians. David Koresh was quite a troubled young man. It all started when the church he grew up in kicked him out after he insisted that God's orders were that he marry the pastor's daughter. This didn't go over too well. He then joined a growing Branch Davidian cult in Texas. Here, he made claims that God had once again ordered him to father a child with the cult founder's 65-year-old wife. With little chances of success with the founder's wife, he set his eyes on an underage girl who consented to become his wife. After a fallout with the cult founder, he led the cult members to live in buses and tents in Palestine, Texas. He soon gained control of the whole group after the founder died. The cult gained popularity across the country for making claims that they could resurrect the dead. They engaged in disturbing practices such as exhuming dead bodies in an attempt to restore life in them. Federal agents raided the Waco compound only to be involved in a 4-hour gunfight with the cult members. A 2-month siege followed without the police knowing that the cult members acted out divine orders. Over 80 people, including David Koresh, were killed after a fire engulfed the compound during the siege. Number 4. Unification Church. Members of the Unification Church are also known as the Moonies. This cult emerged in South Korea and gained a massive following in the 1960s. The cult subjected its members to teachings that were a conglomeration of Christianity, shamanism, Confucianism, and anti-communistic beliefs. Sun Myung Moon was the leader and founder of the cult. He claimed that Jesus Christ had instructed him to finish his divine mission on earth. This, he intended to achieve by creating pure families, by conducting mass weddings between complete strangers. Moon even made his way into the Guinness Book of World Records when he married 6,500 strangers in one mass wedding. After his followers married complete strangers, Moon required them to sell their possessions to him. Number 3. The Illuminati. No list of cults with a massive following would be complete without mention of the Illuminati. The cult has a healthy existence in this modern era as many people believe that it is behind the most significant events in today's world. Formed in 1776 in Bavaria, the Illuminati started as opposition by Enlightenment thinkers. Members strongly opposed all forms of superstition and organized religion. The government outlawed the cult a few years after its formation. Members continued operating under the radar of authorities, and many people believe the Illuminati orchestrated the French Revolution in 1789. Today, the group is rumored to have significant control of major events in an attempt to gain world domination. Illuminati is surrounded by several conspiracy theories that link the group to the supernatural achievements of alleged members. Number 2. The Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments of God. Joseph Kabwetia and Paulo Kashikun formed a movement after claiming to have received visions from God. According to Kashikun, he had dreams of his dead daughter and other images of Jesus and his mother, the Virgin Mary. They called their group the Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments of God. As the name suggests, the biblical Ten Commandments played a considerable role in this movement's operation. The founders held a strong belief that the world would end on the last day of the year 2000. Most of the cult's followers were former members of the Catholic denomination of Uganda. The apocalyptic belief attracted many devout followers to the group. The group began to fall apart when the proposed doomsday went by, and nothing happened. As the truth began to unravel, Kabwetia and other cult leaders moved swiftly to set another date for the apocalypse. When that proposed date arrived, Kabwetia set the church on fire while his congregation was inside the building. 530 members of the cult died in the fire. Before we end this video, don't forget to subscribe, the creator. And our top of the list. Number 1. The Cult of Santeria under Adolfo Costanzo. Adolfo Costanzo was born and raised in the Roman Catholic Church. However, Adolfo had an intense fascination with the Santeria religion since childhood. The Santeria religion was a blend of Roman Catholicism and Voodoo. Cult experts believe that Adolfo may have inherited this fascination from his mother, who was also a priestess in the Santeria religion. However, Adolfo was very interested in the faith's dark side, which even the Santeria members had disavowed. He got in contact and trained with a sorcerer who practiced voodoo. Adolfo relocated to Mexico with sufficient training, where he lured drug lords and other Mexican crime syndicates. He offered to perform rituals at exorbitant prices. These rituals, he said, would guarantee them safety from the police and their enemies. He gained a massive following among the drug traffickers and criminal gangs of the country. As the gangs grew more powerful, they attributed their success to Costanzo's rituals' supernatural powers. Those who declined his demands disappeared mysteriously. Costanzo was later arrested and charged for the murder of dozens of his followers after authorities discovered his victims' bodies.